Good morning, everyone. It's Saturday morning, and yes, I've got bed hair. It's very early. Well, it's not very early. It's like 9 o'clock. And to make matters worse, I very cheekily went for a popped round to a friend's house yesterday. Um, it's been really hot in Perth like this week. It was 40 degrees again yesterday. It's 40 degrees again today. And so I sort of cheekily just popped in on some friends of mine and just happened to be wearing my swimsuit. So I just happened to go for a swim in their pool. One of them was home actually, but and then his wife came home, and she said, like, oh, like, you can come around anytime, just let yourself in through the side gate, even if we're not home, like, just come in, have a swim, like, go for it. And I was just like, sweet. Friends with pools. I always said when I was like at university, like, and we were all getting our degrees and stuff, and I was like, you mob are useless. Like, what am I going to do with a bunch of friggin', like, civil engineers and industrial lawyers and um, organizational psychologists. Like, I need a mechanic. I need a sparky. These are the friends I need. Anyway, yeah, kind of a bit like that, like, if your checklist, like, you want to have, like, friends, you want to have friends with pools. You want to have friends with single friends to hook you up with. Like, I don't have any of those either. I mean, no, but I do have a friends with a pool, and they don't live too far away. So I stopped in there anyway. I had a swim, had a chat to my friends, it was really lovely, and then I came home and unexpectedly wound up going almost straight away to see a friend of mine who is having a really, really hard time. And that's the reason I decided to record this video. And the reason I just said all of that is just to explain the fact that I haven't even rinsed my hair after being in the pool, hence why it looks a little bit wild. But I'm kind of digging it. I'm kind of digging it. So yeah, so I went to see a friend of mine last night, and he's having a really hard time. Like, when I say a really hard time, like, I mean, like, he's like, I'm really worried about him. I'm really worried about him. He is sad, he's confused, he's trying to run a business, and which, look, his business, his business is profitable and has been profitable from the start. However, he just never implemented those things. Like, I said to him yesterday, well, you need to get a bookkeeper. Like, why are you doing these invoices yourself? Like, it's like I'm cooking dinner at his house, and he's like there on his phone, like, dictating into Google Talk to Text, like, invoice details. And I said to him, well, like, first of all, like, there's software for that shit, man. Like, and you need to get a bookkeeper. Like, just, you can get a remote bookkeeper even. um and he was like, yeah, no, I totally do. He said, like, he said, I did think about it, like, at one stage, but then my wife used to do a lot of that stuff for me, like, um you know so that made it easier. But um and he said, but, and I said, look, I mean, there's even software that I'm sure you can get that will, like, would make a template for you, and, like, and make this a lot easier than it currently is. And he was just like, see, I haven't even thought about that sort of thing, because, at the end of the day, like, what the trade that he's in has nothing to do with computers or technology or bookkeeping or, you know or any of that stuff. And so, I mean, and and that's just a classic thing that happens with people when they go into business for themselves, is that they can do the thing that their business offers. They can offer that service, and they're good at that. But the actual, like, running of a business part of it, they probably don't have any skills in. And look, you can wing it. I mean, he's getting by, but he's also working stupid hours. He's up all night. He's falling asleep, like literally, like on his phone, still trying to send him. He's like nodding off because he's so tired because he's been up since 5 a.m. You know, like, he's, and so he's overworked and he's really stressed and he's incredibly sad. And this and so and I'm not, and this video is not about him particularly, but it is about a situation that is happening with a couple of my friends at the moment, and historically with a few other of my friends actually. And that is that they are being deprived of any and all access to their children, whom they love dearly, whom they were involved with in raising until the relationship broke down, whom they, are shattered without, I mean, and it just breaks my heart because, like, I just think, like, I understand, like, look, if you have a baby as a woman and the father of that baby is a violent, drug dealing piece of shit that is only likely to cause that child harm, sure, fine. I mean, that's sort of if that's the case, honestly, they may well not even, like, care about whether they see their child or not. But if there is a willing, able, relatively healthy father out there for your child, and your child is not having any contact with them, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. Every child deserves to have at least two parents, and and especially when you've got two parents, both of whom love the child and want the best for the child, then you need, you need to get over your feelings towards your ex-partner and instead think about your child and what your child needs. Because so two examples, guys, I know at the moment, and both of them, in both situations, the initial mechanism to deprive contact has been that the partner has gotten a VRO. Now, the thing about a VRO is that it stops you from going anywhere near that person's house, from having any communication with them at all, including communication through a third party, and it stops you from being able to go to their work. So, and if you have a child and they are in your custody, then the VRO will naturally extend to that child because they're in your custody. And if the child is too young to talk for themselves, have their own device, or be able to, be able to dial a phone number themselves, then by getting that VRO and saying you can't contact me, what you're saying is you can't contact your child. And that's just not fair. I understand, and I understand if you don't want to talk to them. That's fine. You've probably got very good reasons for not wanting to have any contact with them. However, you need to facilitate, and it's so easy to do. Look, you can get a modification to a VRO it's just one, it's just literally just one trip to the courthouse, one appearance in front of the magistrate. You modify you modify the VRO so that to enable a third party, maybe your parents, maybe a trusted, maybe a friend that you have in common, like whomever it may be, you know, to to act as a to act as you know, as the communication agent, so that both parties, well, mostly obviously the party that doesn't have custody, doesn't have possession of the child anyway, like, um, can reach out and say, I really want to see my child, and then that message can be passed on. And if you seriously think that you're doing anything other than just serving your own selfish need for revenge by saying, nope, he can't see his child, then you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. Stopping a father who is willing and able, who is relatively stable, who is relatively healthy, from seeing their child is wrong. There's just no two ways about it. And if you really love your child, which I'm sure you do, I'm sure you do, then you've got to stop thinking about how you feel about your ex-partner and start thinking about how your child feels about their father. Because those are very different things. Those are very different things. Children deserve to grow up with two parents, and it doesn't matter and those two parents don't have to be in a relationship together. If the relationship's unhealthy and it breaks up, it is better if the parents separate. Dr. Phil said, and I love this quote, all children would rather come from a broken home than live in one. And I can attest to that, because I lived in a broken home for many, many years, and my parents were staying together, for sake of me, and which is even worse, by the way, because then like there is, you're psychologically you're placing, like, you're diverting your resentment and your, dislike almost towards your partner, you know towards your child. Like, because if you're the screw holding the cabinet together, that's a lot of pressure to be holding. And it's not fair. So, but anyway, but that's a side note. Children deserve to have two parents, you know and I know that often when a relationship breaks down, feelings can overwhelm you, you know like I have been in this I have been the one to breaking up a relationship, and I have been broken up with. I've done both, and neither is fun. I think that people, you know who are the one whose partner has left them, tend to get the impression that, that, but if you're the one who does the breaking up, like that, like that you're just fine and that it's easy. That's not true. Like, it's never easy. It's never an easy decision to break up with someone. it's never an easy decision, and and there's still a grieving process, like, and you still have to go through an adjustment process. And if you have to move out of the house, and like, if you were sharing a house together, and then you're the one who moved out of the house, well, now you've also got to negotiate, like, finding a house. And let's face it, the fucking rental market in Perth is really bad at the moment. So you've got to negotiate all of that, and now you're living on your own. Whereas before you left the relationship, you were living with your wife and your child. And that loneliness in and of itself will kick you right up the ass. But then you add to it just not being able to talk to your child, not even be able to talk to him on the phone. It's not fair. It's not fair. So I just want to appeal to, like I just want to appeal to women out there, like, you know, like I said, I understand, like, if your partner, if your ex-partner is violent, if he is high risk, if he's living a high risk lifestyle, you know, and when I say that, I mean, like, he's dealing drugs, or he's involved in gangs, or he's, like, I don't know. But if you have reason to believe that if you genuinely in okay, and I want to appeal to your rational, reasonable side, which everyone has, by the way. Like, we can be taken over by our emotions, but we can still think rationally when we really put our minds to it, right? Try to put your rational head on and ask yourself the question: does the father of my child pose a risk to him? Really? Does he actually pose a risk to him? Or am I just telling myself that he does, like, in order to justify what I'm doing by completely depriving him of access? Because I've got to tell ya, like, when you guys were still together and raising that child together, if you didn't see him be violent with the child, then if you didn't see him cause problems with the child, if he wasn't involved in high risk activities, if it wasn't any of that stuff going on, then there probably isn't now, or at least there won't be for a little while. But the reality is that, like, a lot of these men, like, break down, and they do wind up resorting to, to drug abuse, and, because they just can't cope with the fact that they can't see their child, and they are so desperately miserable, and they don't know what to do, you know? And but you don't have to, but I'm not expecting you to care about how your ex-partner feels. I'm not expecting you to care about that. Because if they left you, I understand you're probably angry with them, you're probably confused, you probably feel really, really betrayed. I would feel, but I think betrayed is a totally normal way to feel when someone breaks up with you. Um, all of those feelings are absolutely valid, totally. But you can't just extend how you feel to then, you know, onto your child, because your child probably loves their father very much. And although they may be too young to talk, and so they're not telling you this yet, they would love to see their dad. They're probably wondering where dad went, you know? Just think about that. Just think about that, you know? I mean, and you know, and you don't have to like, and I'm not saying that you have to like, you know, immediately like agree to like a 50-50 custody arrangement, or you know, or whatever, like, if you have concerns at all, like, and you want to, just start with just simple visitation. Just start with it like, 3-4 hours on a Saturday afternoon. You can even be there, and you probably don't want to see your partner, but, or like I said, if a trusted third party, like, a parent, or a friend, or there are people you can pay to do this, like, um, go to a park so it's neutral territory, and let the father spend time with their child so that they can both heal. Because it, if you continue to act irrationally and deprive them of all access, you're going to wind up in family court. And I've been through family court. Like, I don't have any children, as I said, but my ex-partner did, and I was with him when he was going through family court proceedings with his ex. So I've been through the whole kahuna. I was there for the whole thing. And the reality is that unless one party screws up really badly, the courts are going to award at least partial custody to the father. And I tell you, it's a 2-year process. It's paperwork hell. It's it's nasty. It's bitter. It's like, it's ugly. It's just a pain up your ass. No one, I mean, I can't imagine anyone enjoys it. Look, if you can afford a lawyer, a family court lawyer, well, good for you. But like, that's just not true for the majority of people, because, you know, I mean, getting a lawyer to run a family court case will cost you, or in the order of $100,000. You can't even go to family court until you've done mediation first anyway. So, you're going to have to sit down with your former partner in mediation to try and come up with an arrangement for for custody, for custody, a custody arrangement. You know, you're gonna have to do that. That's compulsory. As soon as someone, like, makes it clear that they're intending to file for, family court orders, you go off mediation. So that's going to have to happen, VRO, no VRO, whatever. So please just think about it. And if you are a mother, and if you are a mother of a child, and that child is not seeing their father, and the reason that they're not seeing their father has less to do with the has less to do with actual issues related to the father, and more to do with your bitterness towards the father of your children. Please just stop for a second and look at your child, and just think how they would be feeling, and just think what just imagine what's best for them. And imagine and put yourself back in your own childhood, right? And imagine if it was you. Imagine if it was you, and you were like however old, and one day your parents broke up, and now you were living with your mum, and you weren't seeing your dad was just gone, and you didn't know why. Maybe your mum's giving you some explanation, saying he doesn't actually love you or whatever, like telling you something like that. But and if you are doing that, by the way, shame on you. If you know that, if you are saying that and you know it's not true, shame on you. That's disgusting. That's absolutely disgusting. That's using that your child as a weapon, that is manipulating them, that is like psychologically abusing them, because one day they're going to be old enough to, and they're going to reach out to their father. Their father's going to get in touch with them independently, and they're going to probably say, "Mum told me all those years that you wanted nothing to do with me," and the father's going to be saying, "You have no idea how hard I have fought to have contact with you." And then, do you know how that's going to turn around on you? Your own child will hate you. So please don't do that. Don't do that. Do what's in the best interest of your child. Let them see their parent. Figure out a way. There's always a way. Okay. All right. That's all I wanted to say. I want to send big love to anyone who's watching, who's going through child custody battles, including the women. I know how hard it is when a relationship breaks up. You know, I can't imagine how much harder it is when there's a child involved. You know, but I know how much you're probably hurting, and how betrayed you feel, and like the rug just got pulled out from underneath you, and all your plans that you had for the future that you'd made with your partner now just wiped off, just gone. It's really hard to say goodbye to that shit. It's really hard to to accept the fact that all of those dreams that you had, or everything that you thought was going to happen, done, not going to happen. It's hard. But get yourself into counseling. Get yourself into some counseling, you know, you know, for that grief. And please, please try to separate yourself, how you're feeling, from what your child is going through and what is best for your child. And like I said, and if it makes it easier, just think about it as if it was you when you were a child. And think about like what that would have felt like for you. One day daddy's here, the next day daddy's gone. Um, to all my male friends, colleagues, and any strangers watching this, if you are going through a situation like this, like, you have my absolute deepest sympathies. I think that it's just such a horrible, heartbreaking thing. And good on all of you for being for being dads that want to be involved, for being dads that care enough to be involved, that it's like absolutely tearing you to shreds that you're being deprived of seeing your child. That is beautiful to me. I mean, that sounds so wrong, doesn't it? But like that that sort of level of love, like that level of love, that is evident when you see how broken a man is who is deprived of seeing his child, is such a beautiful thing, you know? I'm so sorry for you all. I'm so sorry for you all. And if I could fix it, I would. I don't even know any family lawyers, but I'm not one myself, and I would never become a family lawyer because I think that would be a horrible job. And how could I ever charge anyone a cent for that work? Um, but you can do family court. You don't need a lawyer, by the way. You can totally represent yourself in family court. Um, I've, I did it with my ex. I helped another friend with his application recently. Um, you can totally represent yourself. It is a pain in the ass, but it's totally doable. You don't need a lawyer. Um, yeah, yeah. Uh, okay, I'm gonna end this video with a happier note, by saying happy birthday to my little friend Elise. She's 11 today. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to go to her birthday barbecue because I'm going to see Queens of the Stone Age. They don't sound anything like this, but they're one of my favorite bands. Yeah, and I've never seen them before. Yeah, I've never seen them before. So yeah, Queens of the Stone Age tonight, baby. Oh, how do you do that? What how does? I'm such a dork. It looks like this, right? They're actually metal, so I don't think that even applies. Anyway, yeah, rock and roll, baby. Um, yeah, love Queens of the Stone Age. So, uh, so yeah, but so happy birthday, Elise, and I hope everyone has a good weekend. I'm gonna go have a shower now.